Hi, guys. It's Priya,
And Chanel.
and this is PS.
Let's
Let's talk
talk
about
about that.
that. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I'm so glad. We're really happy to be back. Thank you to everybody who actually reached out to us. It was really sweet.
Yeah.
Who were just like, are you uploading? Are you not uploading? Sorry that we just fell off the face of the planet a little
Yeah, we
bit.
didn't announce, but we took a little break.
Yeah, we
At,
took a break so we
yeah.
could just brainstorm a little bit and come back into the podcast in the new year with, I think, a little more vision, a
Yeah.
little more clarity,
Yeah.
and I'm excited.
Yeah. No, I think this year will be good.
Yeah,
I'm excited to do this
yeah.
season. Are we going to break it up into seasons?
That would be nice.
Yeah, we haven't talked about that, but we'll talk about that. I
You
think
guys
it'd be
just get to
cool.
walk in on our
Yeah.
brainstorming session on this. But
But yeah.
it honestly was nice, I think, to be able to get away and to just have our holiday seasons to
Mm-hmm.
ourselves and with our families
Yeah.
and not necessarily have to think about, what content do we want to put out? I think we're still new to this.
Yeah.
And so it was nice to be able to brainstorm and say, okay, what do we want to put out in terms of content and in terms of value and all of that, be able to take a step back and sit with it and plan out a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
it,
nice.
it's been good though. I think it's just been a really fun experience jumping into it.
For sure. We were just talking about that. Today's
Yeah.
our 11th episode, and I think I had read a statistic that most podcasts fall off after episode 8.
Yeah.
So I'm just proud of us that we're still here.
We passed the little eight
Yeah. Yeah, that
eight
was the
bump. Yeah.
milestone. After episode 8, that should be season 2.
There you go. I think
um,
this one's gonna end up counting as season 2,
yeah.
episode 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see where we take breaks. We'll actually announce our breaks.
Yeah, we're going to be a lot
Time when
better.
we do it. I promise we're going into it with a better game plan
Yeah.
to, I don't know, hopefully really go somewhere with this. I think that is a
Yeah.
goal, that is a desire. And just thank you to everybody who listens and
Yes, thank you.
who's been rooting for us.
It's very much appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
It's very sweet.
Yeah. So to get into it, how were your holidays?
My
We
holidays
passed
were good.
Christmas, we got to New Year. It was your husband's birthday. There was a
Yeah.
lot that happened.
Yeah, your birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was good. My Christmas was good. Um, it's sweet. Christmas with kids is just it's different because you see things through a kid's eye, and there's
Mhm.
I don't know, this might sound cheesy, but more Christmas magic, and
Mhm.
so it was really sweet. It was a sweet holiday. It was very simple. Um, and yeah, it was nice. And then New Year's was nice. My husband's birthday is on the 1st.
Mhm.
So he
A
has
literal New Year baby.
yeah. So he has a tradition where every year on his birthday we go on a hike. So we did a hike with the girls this time, and it was a really simple,
Mhm.
kid-friendly hike, and it was sweet, and they had a ton of fun. And so yeah, it was nice. What about yours?
It was good. Christmas was honestly a really fun day. The same place that you went on the hike for Sean's
Yeah.
birthday is where we went for Christmas Day. And it was nice. It wasn't super crowded. There were
Yeah.
just people who were hanging out, having a good time. We went in the morning because as cheesy as it is, I wanted to have a Christmas with my dogs.
I love that.
Especially I have 2 huskies and one of them is older now. And so just in the back of my mind, I think I'm always really aware of that and I just want to value the time that I have with him and
Yeah.
make the most out of it and give him fun times.
I think that's sweet.
So, yeah, so even for this month, we're seeing, okay, when is it going to snow? Whenever it snows,
Aw,
I
you take
really
him
want to
to the
make sure,
snow?
yeah, I take him. We never did that.
Yeah.
And so I really want to take him. I just want to give him good experiences. And
Yeah.
so, we did that for this year on Christmas. We took them for a really simple little hike. And then we got to hang out just together as a couple and with my mom too. She was a part of it and it was just nice. We had a much more intimate Christmas and a much more planned out Christmas,
Yeah.
which is kind of my vibe. I like
Yeah.
having a thing to do.
Yeah.
I think when things are too ambiguous, I
Yeah.
tend to get more frustrated, especially during the holidays,
Yeah.
because I like knowing there's something to look forward to. I like having kind of an itinerary in mind,
Yeah.
not necessarily something really strict,
Yeah.
but just something to look forward to, like I said. Like I enjoyed being able to have a little bit of a plan for this year's Christmas. I think past Christmases have never been
Yeah.
that planned out. And I think I came from a background where I always knew what I was doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was for sure events that were happening on
Yeah.
Christmas Day. So it was just nice. We did the hike. We came. We had like a big breakfast, so we didn't like do anything for lunch. And then for dinner, I made like a small thing, but before we had dinner, we went out and we saw Christmas lights.
Oh, oh
So
yeah.
yeah, it was just good. And
Yeah.
like we got to like watch a movie at home and stuff. So it was just
Yeah.
like it felt very simple but really nice.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it. And then New Year was just like very chill. I think my husband is in accounting, and so for him it was a work day. It was not like a day where he got to relax necessarily. But it was still good. I mean, it was very chill. And then
Yeah.
right after that is my birthday.
Yeah.
I'm January 3rd.
Yeah.
I'm like almost a New Year baby, like right there. But it was fun. Like my
Yeah.
birthday was really good. David surprised me with Adele tickets.
Ooh.
Yeah. I cried a lot.
It was so cute
Yeah.
watching like the video of you crying and
Yeah.
opening the
If
tickets.
it's not too hideous, I'll attach the video here. But it was like
It's really cute.
I did cry quite a bit.
Mm.
Yeah. So it was really sweet the way he did it too. He like used too much paper. But that's okay. He like printed just like a bunch of different messages on like a sheet of paper, like, "Hi babe, it's your birthday. Like, here's your gift." And
Yeah.
so we had like a trip to Vegas, and then he was like, "And you're gonna see the Blue Man Group." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then he was like, "And then we're gonna see Donny Osmond." And so there's like a whole segment where I'm like, "Donny
Yeah.
Osmond? Like, why would I ever want to see this person?" And he was like, "I really thought you would want to see that." And I was just like, "No." And in my head, I'm like, I already knew, like with every fiber of my being, I was like, this man bought me an Adele ticket. So I was just like waiting. And I thought at first, like, okay, maybe he's gonna wait until we're there
Yeah.
to be like, just kidding. But there was like a packet underneath like everything, and that was like, your actual gift is. And then it was the Adele, and I
It
was
was
just
so
crying.
cute.
Yeah.
You were like really calm. I think I would have been like, babe, just tell me that you bought the adult tickets. Like just confirm. Like and but you were like you were gonna let him
Yeah.
play it out however he
Yeah.
wanted to.
Yeah.
And I think that was sweet too.
Yeah.
You were like, I'll let this man have it.
Yeah. I think because in general, with a lot of times that David tries to surprise me, I always am in on it.
Yeah.
It's not, and it's never on purpose. I
Yeah.
think I'm just someone who I always figure things out
Yeah.
just somehow. Even my parents would always say that too. They'd be like, "We hide things in certain places, and you
And then
just
you
like for
find
some
some.
reason you're attracted to it. Like we don't know." So I've always been like that from the beginning. It's just like if someone has a surprise or if there's something, I usually can pick up on it. And so in this case, I didn't, and it's like I'm just gonna let you play out however you want to play this out. I
Yeah.
already know for a fact I'm getting this.
Yeah.
Like I know you wouldn't send me to Vegas and not take me to Adele, you know. Um, so I was just like, okay, I'll let you have
Your
your
moment.
moment.
But it was super sweet. Good
Hmm.
job, David.
Yeah, definitely props to him. So he didn't get on my worst gift this year. Everything was like a knockout. He did a good job.
Yeah.
Birthday and Christmas. Yeah.
Oh,
Hmm.
that's sweet. And then so new year, new me. So tell me, Priya.
Ooh, are you a New Year, New Me person?
So no, I'm not a like new year, new me person, but I definitely am somebody who I think the past couple years have just tried to be like more intentional with certain things.
Mhm.
And like I said, I do like I think there's something like exciting about like a holiday or an event where it like marks something.
Mm.
I don't know if I'm like using the right terminology, but so I did take this like New Year's to kind of just like sit down. Sean and I did it's like our yearly summit where we sit down and um kind of talk about like the previous year, what worked, what didn't work,
Mm.
and there's like different topics that we go into like marriage, kids, finances, things
Mm.
like that. And then we like kind of dream and vision for the following year.
Mhm.
And so it was nice. We got to do that. We got to just go away for the day and like focus on that and just pray. And so this is the first time I've ever like prayed for like a word for the year.
Mm.
And so that was really cool. Like I feel like I got like my word for the year and um just like set some, again, not goals, but just like rhythms that I want to be really intentional about keeping this year. And so yeah, it's just like some rhythms and some just personal things that I want to work on and grow in, but not like check mark things.
Yeah.
I think sometimes the issue with like a goal is like a goal would be like I want to whatever, like lose 10 pounds.
Yeah.
And then it's like once you lose the 10 pounds, well, one, if you do lose the 10 pounds, right, then it's like you kind of stop working out. Like you've reached the goal and
Yeah.
then you're not continuing to be healthy.
Right.
Or you don't by like your date and then you get
Mhm.
discouraged and then you stop.
Yeah.
So it's just like I don't want to set goals, but I do want to set intentions. Like so instead of like, oh, I want to be 10 pounds thinner or whatever, like I want to be somebody who is like physically healthy.
Yes.
So then just setting like intentional things that I'm going to practically do
Mhm.
throughout my week to be intentionally healthier.
Mhm.
So then at the end of the year, I didn't have like a goal weight, but like I did the work of like becoming a healthier person.
Yeah.
And then that's like part of the my lifestyle now as opposed to like reaching a certain number.
Right.
And that's just like one example. But so yeah, so it was nice. So I am excited about like this new year and this new season and just some of the things that like I really want to work on as a person this year.
Hmm. I think that's really commendable on your end. This isn't the first time that you've talked about you and Sean kind of taking a day to not map out or plan out your new year necessarily, but yeah, come up with
Yeah.
more intentionality or even just reflect on the past year and the highs and the lows and all of that. I think
Yeah.
that's so cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, because that's definitely not something that David and I do.
It's not something we've thought of. Like I will say this was a resource.
But still,
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting that it's just something you do. Like I
Thank
I
you.
I find it genuinely commendable and yeah, I don't
Thank
I
you.
don't know. I think that's really cool to be able to come into the new year with kind of more pensiveness or more thoughtfulness of okay, this is what we did do, this is what we didn't do. Let's see where we can go from here. I really do admire that a lot. I think that's very cool to
Thank
do.
you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Not our idea, but thank you. Like I don't want to take
I'm
credit for
sitting
it.
here like thinking in my head like I know we would never do this. Like and I don't want to take away from what I genuinely believe is incredible about that.
Yeah, yeah.
I also just think like every couple is different,
Yeah.
you know? And
Yeah.
so I'm not taking away from myself either
Yeah.
by knowing that honestly that's probably not something that we would end up doing. But I really do admire it. I think that David and I are not necessarily people who but, like, I think that's a good thing to do to kind of, like, sit and just, like, map out and think out more appropriately, like, okay, what are our you're right, like, using the word goals is kind of difficult, but,
Yeah.
like,
Like your
what are our
vision.
intentions, what are our
Yeah.
visions, you know? But I think, yeah, I don't know, maybe that's something to take away
Yeah.
from hearing, yeah.
I'll send you the summit. Like it's like a resource given to us.
Okay,
And so like
thanks.
if you ever wanted to do it.
Yeah.
But it's just it's cool. I don't know, it's cool.
Yeah, because I will say, like, David and I are a very communicative couple.
You
It's
guys
it's
are.
it has nothing to do with
Yeah.
oh we're
No, you
you
guys
know what
are
I mean,
like
like,
in
we're too
sync.
cool or we're whatever. Like
Yeah.
I think that we talk a lot, and I
Yeah.
think that we do yeah try to
Yeah.
live the same way or to
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Like we are I would say like especially in the last couple of years like we've really worked to become a unified front.
Yes.
And so it's definitely not something where I'm just like we just wouldn't do it because we're
Yeah.
so like whatever. You know what I mean? Like we're not nonchalant as a couple
Yeah.
either. Um but I know like oh we would never think to do that, but as I'm talking about it and as I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking okay, but like what's the harm in doing it?
I like
Like,
this.
you know what I
You
mean? Like,
convinced yourself.
yeah.
You're like,
I'm like, wait a minute. We should do this.
actually.
But I just think there is so much value in no matter how you do it, whether you do
Yeah.
it in that kind of a structured
Yeah.
way or whether you do it through constant check-ins. I
Yeah.
think on my end, what I'm thinking is like, oh, it is really nice to just as a couple come together and say, hey,
Yeah.
let's try and look at this year as like an opportunity to do something together and grow in a different way
Yeah.
together. So yeah, I've definitely taken something away just now.
Oh,
That's
that's
cool.
sweet. I like that.
I'm like, okay,
Aw.
that's good. Yeah. So
That's
yeah,
really sweet. But yeah, you guys are a very like unified couple.
thank you.
Yeah,
That's very sweet.
you guys are in sync a lot of the
Mhm.
times.
Thank you.
It's sweet.
We do a lot of routines.
You guys are really
We
good
do
at
a lot
it.
of
You guys
dance
do a lot of
routines.
dance numbers, even in Even in my dreams,
Yeah.
you guys are like dancing.
Tell people about your dream.
I had It's so awkward. I had this like random dream the other night about Priya and David, and I was like helping plan their wedding. I was like a wedding planner, and I'm
Mhm.
like helping plan the wedding. And David comes to like the team. It was like me and some other wedding planners, and it's like
Just a team of you guys.
I really
A
want.
board.
Yeah, like I don't know. Normally, like a wedding planner is more than one person.
I don't know.
I don't know,
I
but it
just
was
love the
like.
visual of like he's like in a board meeting.
And so he's like, I want to, during the ceremony, like perform this musical number, and I want to be um lifted up into the air,
Yeah.
like on a harness or whatever. And then like the day of the ceremony, they like he doesn't get the okay. Like I don't know if it's the venue that's like, no, like you can't do that, or like what the issue was, but the what
Mhm.
other wedding planner was like, I'm sorry, David, it's not gonna work out.
Mhm.
And then like the ceremony starts.
He's like, you can't stop what's already in motion.
Like
That
we're
is very
watching.
much a David thing, though.
Yeah, like I'm watching the ceremony, and then all of a sudden I see David like get taken up, and he's like on the harness and he's singing, and then all of a sudden Priya gets taken up, and like Priya's like face is just
Yeah.
like shock, like she
Yeah.
doesn't know what's happening, and like in my earpiece, like other wedding planners are like, oh my gosh, what's happening? And in my mind, I was just like, I don't know, but like, what song is he gonna sing? Like what are they gonna do? Is Priya gonna be mad? Like, and I'm just like there for the show at
Oh
that
my
point.
gosh. At that point, you became a spectator
Yeah.
like everyone else. You were
And
like,
he's like, let's
you're
see
like,
how
let me
this
just take this
happens.
earpiece off.
Yeah, let's
Let me
just see
watch
how this
what
goes.
happens.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh,
my god.
but anyway, it was
I
just the
love
most
that. Yeah.
random dream.
That's so funny. I could never.
I don't
I would hate to be harnessed up for one thing. I
like
would probably
in
just be
your wedding
screaming.
dress, just like, all right,
I'm like, whoop.
beam her up, Scotty.
but but I would honestly like just want to evaporate into thin air
Yeah.
if David decided to serenade me in public. I wouldn't know what to do. There's certain like public displays of affection that I think are sweet,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like for instance, not too long ago, at church, it was our anniversary that day, and you were so sweet. You bought flowers, like he asked you to bring
Yeah.
flowers. And he just like did a short little thing where he was like, I'm really grateful for this many
Mm.
years and yada yada. Like that was sweet, you
Yeah.
know? Even then, it's kind of like it's nerve-wracking when you get like a lot of attention on you,
Yeah.
you know? But that's like a sweet way. And because he's like like he's so good at public speaking,
Yeah.
um, and just he is kind of a little bit of a center stage personality in some ways, and so it suits him. Like he
Yeah.
he does a good job. He doesn't like make a fool of himself. I
Yeah.
think I'd be a lot more nervous if I was like, "Stop, like you don't know what you're doing." up there." But to be serenaded I could never. I'm
Yeah.
just that's not something that's like in me. I
Yeah.
think I would just
Yeah.
die.
Yeah.
Like, "Oh Lord,
This
it's
is
been a good
it.
been a good few years."
This is it.
Yeah.
I
I
love
love
that.
that.
Yeah. But anyway. But yeah, to say that, even in my dreams, Priya and David are in sync. Well, kind of. Priya was shocked, and David was just like pouring his heart out over song.
That seems right too.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I feel like all of that to say.
Yeah.
I think that every couple, I mean, no matter what, I will say put in work to be
Yeah.
a good communicator with your spouse,
Yeah.
no matter what. Whatever route you choose to take is yours, but yeah, I like having a takeaway from this where I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
it would be cool to start incorporating that, I think,
Yeah.
into our marriage as well.
Yeah. Because like the idea behind it, or like why it's from this like family ministry called like Family Teams.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just to like like businesses are successful because like they have
Mm-hmm.
business plans, and they like meet quarterly or weekly, and like,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's like how much more important is your family? So like to kind
Yeah.
of treat your family a little bit like a business, where you come in with like intentionality, and like
Yeah.
um kind of model kind of how a growing business communicates and operates,
Yeah.
and like bringing that into like your family dynamic, whatever your family looks like.
Yeah.
But yeah, so very cool. How about you? What are like Are you a New Year's girly?
I've changed entirely.
Tell me.
I'm a new year, new me person. No, just kidding.
Tell me. I was like, really?
No, I wish I was actually. I think I was more like that when I was young.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
think like probably everyone when they're younger goes into the new year being like, okay, new year,
Yeah.
new me. Like it
Yeah.
changes, like you shed your skin and you
Yeah. Yeah.
become like whatever it is that you're aiming to be. But I will say I feel like I'm taking the same approach for this year that you are, where there's just certain goals and certain things that I have in mind or intentions that I have in mind that I want to keep at the forefront of this year to just better myself as a
Yeah.
human being.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think I'm trying to go at it with any like I'm going to do this by this month and I'm going to achieve this by this month, but I definitely think like there's certain things that I'm trying to do to kind of make goals happen.
Yeah. Like
Do
more
you know what I
habits
mean?
and things. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've never been so here's the thing. I think a little bit cynical, to be honest. And so I'm not much of like
No.
a Isn't that shocking? I'm not just like little Miss Hopeful all the time. Um, but I approach things like vision boards with a lot of apprehension.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I even approach I think something that you were just saying right now when you were talking about, businesses make plans and
Yeah.
like how much more should we as a couple make plans?
Yeah.
You're right,
Yeah.
right? Like that statement is completely correct. But I think that for me, when people try and market things too much like a success story or
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like there's a buy-in or there's
Yeah.
something else like that. I think that for me, too many red flags start
Yeah.
popping up. And so I'm usually very apprehensive and I'm very like, no, I'm just going to cut that,
Yeah.
right now. Um, Whereas now I think I'm starting to open up to the reality that, hey, something can be inherently actually a pretty good idea,
Mhm.
but everyone has their own approach to it. And some
Yeah.
people can take that approach and make it more of like a money laundering
Yeah.
scheme or like, whatever it
Yeah.
might be. Because I've heard about like vision boarding
Right.
for years,
Right.
right? But it's like whenever I hear about it, it's from these people who probably have been using it. I'm not trying to necessarily go against like their thoughts and beliefs or their methods, but you typically hear it from I think like really successful people already.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so I just always struggle with it because I think in my head like okay, it's really easy to advertise a vision board when you yourself are a successful person.
Right.
But at the same time, I think that people are just trying to find like easy terms and easy ways to kind of pass on ideas that have helped them probably more so just grow into the person that they wanted to be so that they could achieve whatever ultimate
Yeah.
dream they had.
Yeah.
And so I think this year I'm trying to kind of walk into a little bit of like a vision board
Mhm.
season, more in the sense of like there are certain things that yeah, I do believe that if I were to put it on paper or put it in front of me as an actual vision, I could have more clarity and more drive to work towards them, not
Mm.
necessarily achieve that outright because life always changes and paths
Yeah.
change and directions change. But like for instance, you and I having a podcast, right? Like if
Mhm.
I put on my vision board like, "Hey, I would like to create more of like a sustainable career out of this." Then okay, at least that can drive me to like take certain actions that would be
Yeah.
helpful. And who knows where that will eventually actually lead. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? But like
Yeah.
I still think it's good to start just trying to go into the year with a vision or with intentionality or
Yeah.
with,
Yeah.
something in mind.
Yeah.
So, I think I'm definitely starting to take root in a different direction, which is good. I think I've just been like cynical for a really long time
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay, let's drop that a little bit and let's try this out.
Mm.
So,
I love that for you.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'm excited for this. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm
So,
excited
yeah,
for new
I'm
Priya. But yeah, I will say I
new
love old
Priya.
Priya. So I'm good with either version of Priya.
Thanks. Hopefully, new Priya will just have like a smidge more positivity to her. in the midst of all of that.
I like that.
Yeah. We hit the new year, we hit New Year's resolutions, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's so much news in
Yes.
this new year.
Yeah.
And there was something as we've been planning and as we've been kind of going through this. I know in last season, right? We were making jokes and talking about like Priya's like news segment, right?
Yeah.
Where I just bring crazy topics or whatever. And so I'm not just going to like hit you with complete mystery or whatever. I did like alert you to this
Yes.
beforehand, but the new year has had a lot of new news. And there's two that I was like, I need to talk about this with Chanel. And I just gave her like a breakdown of what it was. And you kind of did like a little bit of looking into it, not necessarily deep diving or anything like that.
Yeah.
Um,
It's intense, you guys. Buckle up. This is juicy.
I'm telling you, like there's just so much in my head that I'm like, I need to like get this out with Chanel. New year, new news, Gypsy Rose.
Yeah. Okay. So, um, I had never heard of her before Priya told me. So, do you want
Yeah.
to give like the background story? Because I
Yeah.
feel like you did a good job of like explaining the history of Gypsy
Thanks.
Rose. Yeah.
Yeah. So I believe that this actually all occurred in 2015, but Gypsy Rose Blanchard was a young woman who I would say was an abuse victim at the hands of her mother. Her mother's name is Dee Dee, and her mother had a condition called Munchausen's by proxy. I don't know if it's a form of just being like a hypochondriac because hypochondriacs are the ones who think that they're ill
Something's
all the
wrong with
time,
them.
right?
Yeah.
So with Munchausen's by proxy, she was doing that to her daughter. So I don't know if those things are similar or if they're in the same ranking or what, but that's like I think the easiest way to explain it is that she was basically just saying that her daughter had several illnesses. And it ranged from muscular dystrophy to leukemia to just all these different things. And it was around the time that Hurricane Katrina hit. So what she was doing was she was using that as an opportunity to go to doctors and say that, oh, during Hurricane Katrina, her records were lost. But I think she had like studied nursing for a little bit. So she knew how to talk like enough lingo, I think, that
Mm.
people trusted her. But it is still wild to think that the medical system
Let.
honestly failed
Yeah.
Gypsy this hard because they were just trusting this mother. And honestly, I don't even think that Gypsy would have been like that young. I think she would have been almost an adult or what like I think she had to have been almost 18 and she was going through all of this. She might have even been past 18 while she was still going through so much of this, but they would give her like intense medications and to the point where like at some point all of her teeth rotted. She had like silver teeth. She had eye surgery done. She had a tube put in, a feeding tube. And this is someone who was actually a perfectly
Healthy.
healthy child. She was saying like, "Oh, yeah, my daughter can't walk. She has the brain
She homeschooled her too, right?
I think so, yeah." And she was saying that she had the intelligence of a 7-year-old.
Yeah.
So like even when Gypsy was talking, she would talk in kind of like a high-pitched, just childish voice and she wasn't allowed to really like
Mm.
talk to people a lot. It was just very minimum, very basic. And so Gypsy suffered through all of this. I will say that. I do believe that. She really suffered a lot of mental and emotional and even physical abuse. I mean, yes, she was given all these medications and stuff, but eventually, like, it even came out to her mom had like tied her to the bed and like there was just like physical abuse that was happening at some point as well here. And so at some point Gypsy somehow got a hand got her hands on a phone, I think, and on a computer. And so once she did that, she was introduced to the internet and she was because I think she was young and she was going on the internet on her own, she started like going into chat rooms and meeting like sketchy guys and all of this stuff and she had like wigs because her mom kept her shaved all the time. So I think she just like entered a weird realm of the internet, you know? And she entered like online dating and all of this stuff. And so who knows like what she was exposed to, what she was not exposed to. But I think she just probably entered like a very strange part of the internet like right off the bat. And for someone who has had like such little, I would say, social interaction, like appropriate social interaction, I feel like she probably didn't have any real radar. Like, this is weird, or this is normal, or this is kind of sketchy, or whatever it might be. So she just sort of jumped into like the internet realm, right? She got into a relationship with a guy online. And then eventually, like, she tried meeting him. Mom was like super angry about it. I don't even know how she introduced it to mom because she didn't let her know that she had a computer from what
Mm.
I understand. And then eventually, like, things just got worse, like, things escalated, all of this stuff. And then eventually it got down to this point where, like I said, her mom had, like, tied her up and everything. And I think Gypsy just broke. I
Mm.
think that she just honestly mentally snapped. And so she reached out to a boy online who she was dating. And I think she probably gave him like a really heartbreaking sob story, but I honestly believe meant it wholeheartedly when she said like I need help and I think the only way that I can get rescued from this is by my mom dying. And
Mm.
so she basically got this boy involved and he came and she I think hid out somewhere and covered her ears and he just stabbed her to death. And Gypsy was imprisoned. She was, I think she had charges of like second degree
Mm.
murder.
Yeah.
And so she had a 10-year sentence and she just got released
Mm-hmm.
7 years into her sentencing. She's 32, 33, I
Wow.
think. Yeah. So she's like around our age.
Yeah.
So all of this was happening like 2015. How old are we? Like 2015. In our 20s, right? Somewhere.
You have to make. You're making me do math now. It's 2024, so that was 9 years ago.
Yeah. So,
So yeah, we were
yeah.
like 22.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like that's pretty much the time that all of this was happening to her. Um but yeah, like she just hit like a complete breaking point. And so I was talking to Chanel about this because there's a weird obsession that Gen Z has with
Mm.
Gypsy Rose. And there's like a weird, I'm sure it's not just Gen Z, like I'm sure like millennials, I'm sure there's a lot of people who have this obsession with her. But I think it's kind of alarming because I've seen Gen Z videos of kids who are like, she's going to be our new icon. And that's so alarming and just ring
Yeah.
like so many bells, right? Went
Yeah.
off in my head when I heard this because I'm thinking, this is still someone who had to resort to, I need to like murder this person in order to be free. There's a lot of dialogue behind that because a lot of people are like either completely for her or completely against her. I think I'm somewhere who like is in the middle. Like I hope she has a successful life. I hope she does well. I hope she stays stable. I hope she's okay, works through her mental issues, all of those things, but like I know at the end of the day she still committed a murder, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Um but like hopefully not making it sound too dramatic, but like I can understand how someone can be so sucked into their world of abuse that you truly don't know how to get out
Mm-hmm.
unless this person is gone, right?
Yeah.
Like I can understand that you can come to that point where you can really feel like unless this person is no longer alive, um I'm just going to have to like sit here and suffer all of my life. Does that mean that I'm someone who's like murder is the way? No. Like I
Yeah.
I know, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I think there's very clear limits there, but I can also understand how maybe on Gypsy's end like because she was suffering so much abuse and because she finally came to a point where she wanted to grow up and she was realizing like I'm not that sick. You know what
Mm.
I mean? Cuz
Yeah.
something that she said in an interview was really interesting where she was saying that certain physical things that her mom would say about her she knew was wrong, right? Like she knew she could walk. So
Yeah.
she was always like that's
A lie.
strange, but like
Yeah.
if you're going through abuse, you're not just going to suddenly like get up in the middle of
Yeah.
something. I think that a lot of people were like why didn't you just get up? It's not that easy. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like I think you're really like underestimating the amount of abuse there. To like convince this little girl like okay, like I shouldn't move. Like if my mom's
Yeah.
saying I can't move, like I can't move, you know? Um, but like for instance, like certain things she said in the interview, which I thought was poignant, she said, but then there's other illnesses that like I couldn't see. Like
Mm.
when she said that I have leukemia, who was I to
Mm.
really like what doubt could I provide? What, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
she also was a child. She was a daughter and she was trusting on her mom's goodwill because like they pretty much got everything for free. Like after Hurricane Katrina, they had free housing. They had people who paid for like trips to Disney World. Like they were getting so much out of the community around them because mom was just, I mean, she had to have been amazing with her words, right? Like
Right.
there's no way that like she just had to be such a charismatic person.
Yeah, because I'm just shocked that like doctors would do treatments
Yeah.
on her without any medical proof.
Yeah,
Like that's
like a
wild to me.
feeding tube, medication for leukemia. Like these are
Yeah,
serious
like eye
things.
surgery.
Yeah.
And it's just like you go to the doctor for something like,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, and they're like, oh, well, just wait it out.
Yeah.
Like no one is like jumping to like do surgery or like, it's just wild that she was able to convince doctors with like no medical proof
Yes.
that her daughter needed XYZ and that doctors were like willing to do it
Yes.
without any like hard proof other than like her words.
Yeah, 100%. Like it is so sketchy
Yeah.
that she was able to get so many things done to her. So I can just, I don't know, I can understand how this is like a really broken individual
Yeah.
going into what was just like a desperate
Yeah.
moment. And so I do have a lot of, I think, just sadness over the whole
Yeah.
entire like situation that occurred. And I remember this. Like I remember being a kid in 2015 and hearing this on the news. I remember hearing her story and thinking, "Wow, that's crazy. Like that
Yeah.
is really scary." And I don't know, like I remember still thinking at the end of the day, well, like, you murdered her. So like she did her time. It's not even like, oh, it's one of those like she went kicking and screaming and saying like she wasn't guilty. She like pled guilty and everything.
Yeah.
Like it's not even in interviews like, she admits to what she did.
Yeah.
It's not like she's sitting there, saying that she didn't do it or anything. Like I think that she has like an understanding of right and wrong. I think she knows that she committed
A crime.
a crime, but I worry about kids who are deciding to idolize this person,
Yeah.
especially a person who honestly I believe probably has a lot of mental,
Issues. Yeah.
just
Yeah.
illnesses or even just like wounds,
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like she should be left alone. And that's
Yeah.
what I wanted to talk about was just
Yeah.
the glorification of someone that I think should honestly just be left alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think
Yeah.
when you have, I mean, when you go through so much abuse and you
Mhm.
probably have like still a lot of things that you're working through, like I don't think any of
Mhm.
that like just stops or goes away.
Right.
And then you add like fame to it. I don't know any stories that are like end positive.
Yeah.
Like it just and it's just sad, but it's like it's crazy like what the media and what people will consume and like
Yeah.
how at the end of the day for the media it's like all just about making money off of somebody
Mhm.
um at
And
their
you guys,
expense.
yeah, and I'm so sorry to
No,
interrupt, but
yeah.
you guys, like, it's wild. Like, this girl got married while she was in prison.
Yeah, this is wild.
This girl had, like, a relationship with another guy, like, not even the person that helped her with the murder. She, like, had a relationship with someone. While she was in the relationship, she ended up getting married to someone. She's out of prison now. She's married to that guy. Lifetime literally did an interview with them, but then they also played a newlywed game with them. Like it was like on, how like Instagram or TikTok or like any of it's like little short videos,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's like that, right? Like, where it's like a few minutes worth of a video where they're just doing like a game with each other, like a newlywed game. Like, oh, what's her favorite musical artist? If she could, like, blah blah blah, and if he could, yada yada yada. And they're doing that thing where it's like they write it on
On
a
the Oh
whiteboard
yeah,
and then
yeah.
they like show it. And I'm like, you guys, like she murdered someone. Like in my head, I'm just like, why are we doing this? Like, why
Yeah.
are we? I mean, I don't know. Like, I can understand like interviewing her afterwards. I can understand the book deals, like all those things. It's like, yeah, sure, I get it. You know what I mean? Like that story is sensationalized. It doesn't shock me that like people would want to like hear about that, or
Yeah.
even I'm interested in being like, okay, like now that you're older, like
Yeah.
I would love to hear your thoughts on what your mind was like at that time, or
Yeah.
you know what I mean,
Yeah.
whatever. An interview I think is a totally normal thing, but to, yeah, like play these games and all this stuff, I
Yeah.
just think, what are we doing?
Yeah.
This is this is someone who I mean, like, forget even the crime aspect of it and all that stuff. Like, she was like severely abused. Why are we doing this with her?
Yeah.
Like, just let her live her
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
And I also just worry that to her, like, a certain level of fame is kind of normal because she was just such a talked about story,
Yeah.
even when she was little. So in my head, I'm like, that can't be healthy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, yeah, the whole situation is so like heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there's like so many, I don't know, just nuances in that, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just wild and it's heartbreaking. And yeah, like I really do hope that like she's able to like heal and like I don't know, be left alone and like
Yeah.
um just like live as much of a normal life as she can.
Yeah.
Um, because she's still so young. She's in her 30s.
Yeah. Like, I truly wish her peace.
Yeah.
I wish her joy. I wish her
Yeah.
success. And I hope that she's able to heal from those wounds. And I hope that, families are able to heal. Like, I think that the story is still a sad one, no
Yeah.
matter what.
Yeah.
Because even on the end of the mom, regardless of her being an abusive person and regardless of her abusing the medical system, there was something clearly wrong,
Yeah.
even on her mom's end,
Yeah.
to do this to her child, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, like she needed the medical help, but the
Yeah.
medical system also failed her.
Yeah. And so it's just a sad story all
Yeah.
around. Like, there's
Yeah.
really nothing there that you can really look at and be like, oh, this is like, I don't know, in my head, like, I don't necessarily see positive takeaways from it, you know?
Yeah.
I just think it's truly a tragedy.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. To me, I just think it's really strange how she's being idolized. And I think that's something that I just wanted to touch on because I really fear for people who are idolizing someone who is just
I mean,
had such a hard life and
yeah.
and has struggled and went through all of that. I don't know. I don't know. I get it. Like, I think that people always have a need to idolize someone, and I don't know. I I don't know. I think she's not the one. Like, I just think you should let her heal
Yeah.
and let her grow. I don't think she deserves that.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
wild. And then there was the guy who jumped on the judge.
I know. I didn't know about this, and Bria just showed this to me today. And it's wild.
Yeah.
So he's like in the courtroom and
Mhm.
he's getting his sentencing by the
Yes.
judge.
Yes.
And he like rebuttals, right?
Yeah. So it's during the sentencing, right? The judge is like, okay, do you have anything that you want me to take into consideration before I give you your sentencing? And this is someone who has like a prior record of like several misdemeanors and things. And so he kind of just tells her, like, I've been putting in the work, I'm changing all the stuff. And then she's like, okay, but considering your criminal history, I don't think that's enough. I think that you need to experience time for the things that you've done.
Mm.
And this guy literally pretty much goes, oh, hell no.
He like jumps over the judge's desk, which
Yeah,
I mean, it looks
it
high.
has to be so high. Like, I can't, it's like he's a pole vaulter in that
He
moment.
literally like flies over it and jumps on top of her.
Hmm.
And it's wild.
And like the flag gets knocked down. Like a plaintiff had to like run
I
in
think a
there to like,
couple
yeah,
plaintiffs, it looked like a couple guys
yeah,
to pull him off.
yeah,
It's just wild. Like, I really just want to understand what his brain was thinking at that point. Because if you're like trying to reduce your sentencing
yeah.
and you're like, yeah, I'm like putting in the work,
Yeah.
like, at what point were you like, okay, attacking this woman is now
Yeah,
going to lessen my sentence?
right.
Like, it,
Clearly she was making the right call.
yeah, like it,
Even like just to
yeah,
be like, I think you need to like serve time
yeah,
because his reaction makes it so obvious that like had she not done that and had she been like, okay, you're free to go, he would have like
yeah.
done something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
he seems like he just acts on his impulses. Like it was just a
Yeah.
very strange, like
It
just
was shocking.
yeah, it's intense. And then and so now on top of his sentencing, he has to go back.
Yeah, on top of that now he has like literal federal charges.
Yeah.
Like, forget like small
Yeah.
like this guy's gonna be like in prison for such a long time.
Yeah. Because of like one split second decision
Yeah.
that he
I wonder
acted
if he
on.
even has regrets for it. I wonder if he's just like mad,
I
you
don't know.
know?
It's just people are wild.
Wild. And it's only like a few days into the new year.
It was in Vegas, right? It was a
Mm-hmm.
Las Vegas judge.
I think so, yeah.
That's crazy.
2024 is starting with a bang. They're not New Year, New Me people.
They're not. They should have sat down and
Yeah,
planned out what they
they
wanted.
should have vision boarded this. Yeah, he should have been like, okay, like scenario number one, I attack this judge. Scenario number two, I just let myself be, guilty and let myself do whatever small
Yeah.
time I have to do and
Yeah.
then live my life again.
No, it is wild.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I have no words.
Yeah.
I have no word. I just feel like both topics.
I know I came in hot and heavy.
Yeah, this was an intense.
I was like, let's go. Season 2, episode 1.
Let's go.
Crime. Every crime you could possibly think of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
You hit them all.
I did.
You did. Um,
And there's so many. Like I've seen so many different things
yeah.
recently. Just I don't know why. That's like my feed. My feed is that and alpha werewolf stories.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's for the next
Whole
one.
another topic. Okay, well let's end on a good note.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Let's end on something you're thankful for
Hmm.
and one intention or vision that you have for yourself this year.
Ooh, okay. I like that. Um, I'll say I'm really thankful. I am actually very thankful for the Adele tickets. And I know that sounds
Mm,
like funny, like, oh, obviously I would be, but I have actually been a fan of Adele for a very long time. And I remember when David and I were dating, he didn't even remember this, but I had told him this around the time of getting the gift. But he knew that I was a fan. He knew that I really loved her. And it was something I think maybe even at that time I had said something about how expensive her tickets were because they're not cheap in
yeah.
general. And so I was like, man, like one day I would really like to see one of her concerts. Like that's like my dream. That's my dream concert that I would want to go to. And I just remember like David was such a sweet little guy
Mm.
because I just remember one time he was like dropping me off to my car and I got in the car and he goes, I promise you one day I'm going to take you to an Adele concert no matter what.
Aw.
And it was just so sweet to see that promise like come to
Come to
fruition
yeah.
years later, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing, you never know, like with things that you put out there, right? Like I can make fun of stuff like that, but it's true. Like that was an intention that David put out there,
Mm,
and then years down the road it came true. And so
mm,
it was just, and I knew in that moment like it was such a sweethearted thing on his end to say, but I had enough confidence in him as a man, even when we were young and together, where I was like, he'll make it happen.
aw.
Yeah, and so we were having a conversation about it before my birthday hit and before he even gave me the present. Um, and he was just like, and like, mind you, like he already knows he has the tickets. He's just like milking it in his
Yeah.
brain. I'm sure he's like, I'm so good. Like I got these tickets, but um, he made a comment where he was just like, one day I would really like to take you, and I was like, I already know that you're gonna take me. And he just said,
Aw.
like, what makes you say that? And so I told him that. And he was like, afterwards, when I opened the gift, he was like, I just kept thinking, like, wow, like I did
Aw.
that. And so that to me was like a moment that I was genuinely so grateful for, because it's like these promises that we make as kids, right? Like
Mm,
I look at our time when we were young and I'm like, we were such babies, but like,
yeah.
look, like, I don't know, just years down and like 10 plus years, and it's
Yeah.
like a reality. And I just like, that's so exciting to see like promises fulfilled at some
Yeah.
point.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
That's so wholesome. I love that.
It was really sweet. Like I was just like really grateful for that, really blown away by that.
Hmm.
Very happy about it. And then in terms of intentions for the new year, I would say one of them is to, I don't know how to say it, I guess, but to prioritize, or to really learn to prioritize the voice inside me that is still rooting for me.
Hmm.
I think, like we said earlier, I was like, I'm a cynical person.
Mhm.
It's like, no way. Like, yeah, I am. Like, it's I think just something that over the years I think really built up in me as a defense mechanism for a lot of things.
Mm.
And I think it's just something that like I've been this way since I was young. This isn't necessarily like a new defense mechanism or anything. Like I've just always been like this, and so it's grown in different ways. And I think I've done a lot of work over time to heal that and
Mm.
to work on that and to like work on little Priya, right?
Mm.
Um and just kind of like take away all the blockades that made me feel like I needed to defend myself so harshly, or that made me feel like I needed to be a harsh person.
Mhm.
And so I think that in I don't necessarily want to speak too much on it, like in too much detail, but that is my intention, is to
Mm.
kind of with whatever desires I have, to really a lot of the desires that I can have are honestly usually stopped by me being so mean to myself.
Mm.
Like I am very, very, very cruel
Mm.
to myself at the end of the day. The inner dialogue that I have, I know is very unhealthy.
Mm.
And I know it's really degrading and it's really mean, and it comes from a very real place. But it comes from a place that's rooted in falsehood.
Mm.
And so I think this year that's a big thing, is like to really try to do the things that I've dreamed of doing, or like do things that I know are just going to better myself without that voice having like the last say or like the win, you know?
Mhm.
Um I think that's the goal, or
Yeah.
that's the intention.
I like that for you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. We're praying for that.
Thank you. How about you?
Um, Something I'm grateful for that happened this week
Sorry.
was no, you're good. Something that I'm grateful for that happened actually this week was we got to take the girls to California Adventure.
Mhm.
And so that was a ton of fun. Like it was just so sweet. Um,
Did Noelle like it?
Noelle loved it. Noelle's favorite thing to do at like Disneyland and stuff like that is to meet characters.
Mm.
Like that's just her goal, even for her birthday. Like she doesn't really care what we do or who comes as long as like a certain character comes.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's like
She's into like her fantasy world, I guess.
yeah. And so she loved meeting like Minnie, Mickey, Donald, Goofy. She's really into Frozen right now, and like Elsa and Anna and Olaf are in California Adventure.
Oh, nice.
That's why we actually switched them because she
Got
really wanted to
it.
meet them.
Yeah.
And so we Anna and Elsa were in Arendelle, so only Olaf was in California Adventure. So we got
Oh.
to meet Olaf, but it was so sweet. She was just talking to Olaf. She brought like her little she's packed herself a backpack for California Adventure
Mhm.
of all of her medical tools, and she carried it around the whole day. Like I
Oh,
was
good
really
for
proud of her
her.
because I told her if you
Yeah.
bring a backpack, I'm not carrying it.
Nice.
And so when we got to Olaf, she was like taking all her stuff out and showing Olaf like her measuring tape and her
Oh.
princess crown and her stethoscope and like just being so cute. And then asking him questions about like Anna and Elsa and Arendelle. And like the Disney cast does a really good job of like keeping like the magic alive.
Yeah.
And like, oh, Elsa's in the Enchanted Forest right now,
Mm.
and then she was like, Olaf, like, can you go to the Enchanted Forest? Like, just like talking to them and them answering her questions, and it was just very sweet.
Yeah. They
And
do a good job with the immersiveness.
yeah,
I feel like even with adults, they like will.
oh, sorry.
No, you're good. Same. Hold I know. I was like started chugging this because I was like, I have a dry spot in my throat. I can't stop coughing. Um, yeah. No, they do. I feel like they do a really good job. Whether it be like kids or adults or anyone, they're like
Yeah,
they'll sell their world no matter what. Yeah.
yeah. And so that was really sweet. And it was just a fun day. Like, just all the sugar we ate, and like
Mm-hmm.
it was just fun. And then I wanted to actually look. I was like, so one of my intentions for the year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait. Okay. I have a couple, but I think the most important intention that I really, really want to work on this year is my prayer life.
Mm.
And so I feel like I'm someone that like will pray for like certain things, like we'll
Mhm.
pray over meals or like we'll pray over the girls before they sleep or
Mhm.
um but like I don't do a lot of like just one-on-one like raw talking, like just me talking to God
Mhm.
and like pouring my heart out. And even like when like someone says something and you're like, I'm gonna pray for that. And
Mhm.
then like you kind of never do.
Yeah.
I want to actually be someone that like when I say I'm gonna pray for that, like I genuinely am gonna go pray for that.
Yeah.
And so I really wanted to just be more practical in that. So like I started like a prayer journal. Well, just at the beginning of I started this in November, but like at the beginning of each month, I just write down like all of my prayers on
Mm.
a page of the book. And then throughout the month as things come up, I'll add to them. And
Mhm.
then like each day just like sitting on that page and like actually praying for everything I've listed out on my prayer journal
Mhm.
page. And that sounds like maybe silly or so simple, but like it's like just reminded me of like actually praying for these
Mhm.
things and like being intentional about these things and covering people in prayer.
Mhm.
Um, and then something that I really want to work on that I haven't quite figured out is like cultivating like a prayer closet
Mm. Mhm.
where it's like just creating like a sacred intimate spot where like you can just go and like, I don't have like a special closet, but just like my personal whatever closet that like I'm going into with the intention of like I'm going to sit in here and like pray and
Mhm.
pour my heart out and just kind of have like a little sacred space
Mhm.
where I can do that in my own home whenever I need to.
Mm.
Um and so yeah, that's like something that I really want to grow in and work on
I love that.
this year.
That is
Yeah.
very cool. I will say that's kind of an advantage of being an only child, not like, but like you talk to yourself a lot,
Yeah.
and so just such a loser. Like talk to yourself. But I echo the desire to be a lot more intentional
Mm.
with prayer. I think that's a beautiful thing, and especially to have like an area set aside for it. Um, but I will say, like I feel like I talk at God a lot.
Yeah, it's
Just
beautiful.
like yeah, I am. I don't know.
No, it is. Like just throughout your day.
Sometimes it's not.
No. And I think that
But I
is
think like
beauty in
building this
that.
habit of talking to yourself
Yeah, yeah. So now you're just
has like
naturally.
helped me a little bit because
Oh,
like I'll naturally be like, God, like I'm so annoyed. Like and I will like I find myself like having straight up like conversations in my
I love
like yeah,
that.
like out loud.
I think that's so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. I like never want to be caught, but it happens, you know?
I love that. No, I
Yeah.
think that's beautiful. To just include him in your entire day.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like this year, um, I definitely want to feel like more just restoration and
Mm,
more like peace and joy
yeah.
in my faith. Yeah.
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 I love that for us.
Yeah.
I love the new year, new us girls.
Yeah, it'd be so good. You'll see at the end of 2024. We're
We're
just
gonna.
gonna have halos around us. Just oozing prayer and holiness.
I would love that for us. Oh, I know you say that sarcastically, but I'm claiming it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Go for it. But anyways, you guys, thank you so much for
Yeah.
listening to us.
Yes.
Thank you for giving us time. Honestly, there were a couple people that reached out, and I thought that was really sweet.
That is very sweet.
Yeah, and who
It's
just
so
said like, "Okay,
sweet
I'm waiting." I
to
was like,
like
"Wow."
think people care. Like
Yeah,
just to hear that someone like cares and like wants to hear what you
yeah.
have to say.
Or at the end of December, I had a couple people who put me on their who put us on their Spotify like
I
end of
know
year
that was
wrap.
so
That was
sweet.
insane. That was wild. And like shout out to Amanda.
I was
I'll
gonna
just
say
say
shout
it.
out to
Like
Amanda Kimpo.
so sweet. She's so supportive
She's very supportive.
from like day one.
Yeah.
You've just been like the sweetest
Yeah.
and so supportive of us. And then
Yeah.
like on her like year-end wrap, like we weren't even like at the bottom. We were like so much towards I was
Honestly,
like
Amanda Kimpo, you are just a heart of gold.
yeah, I love you truly from the
Yeah.
bottom of my heart. I mean
Yeah.
that.
You're someone that we actually do talk about. Like we really are
We
like
do. I really mean
Amanda
it. Yeah.
Kimpo is just the best and we are doing this because we want to be the people
Yeah.
Amanda Kimpo thinks we are.
So, no, like honestly, if there's anyone who has reached out to us, anyone who hasn't even directly reached out to us
Yeah.
but has like reposted things, like we're so
Yeah.
grateful. We don't take it for granted.
It's very, very sweet.
It's really encouraging, and it's also just like thank you so much, because that I think has helped us push into being like, okay, like
Yeah.
we like doing this. Let's
Yeah.
keep going if somebody else also likes us.
Yeah, it's really
You
sweet.
know what I mean? Like I think like that really hits in order to like just help you pursue and achieve like
Yeah.
what you want, versus like if we were met with complete silence, I think we probably would have been 8 episode people.
Yeah.
Just backed out, you know?
Yeah.
But thanks guys.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And we haven't forgotten our overall promise from episode 1. I promise. It's there. It's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe in the spring
Yeah.
when we find a cute pair.
Yeah. All right. Love you guys.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.